Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. This one is transfer plans. So we're going to look at how I got on in game week 3. Then we're going to have a look at what my plans are for game week 4 and beyond. So let's get into it. Okay, so game week 3 went okay. I got a green arrow. I mean, rank's not important, so I haven't put it on screen at all. But I did get a green arrow, a very small one, but a green arrow nevertheless. Now, Kelleher in goal. He got 1 point. That's a bit unfortunate, really. I was expecting a little bit more from that Sunderland fixture. However, from goalkeepers, I don't really expect much anyway. I don't really care too much about their points. So 1 point doesn't make a lot of difference, really. Van der Ven, Porro, Murillo. Murillo was disappointing. I'm a West Ham fan, so slightly less disappointing given that we won the game, but I've been expecting more from Forest defence, if I'm honest. Forest defence looked pretty bad against West Ham at the weekend, and Murillo didn't really do a lot in the way of defensive contribution points either, although I don't really expect loads in that game. Van der Ven got a yellow card and also didn't do a lot. Porro did end up hitting the defensive contribution threshold, so he got a few more points. 4 points isn't actually bad considering how bad Spurs were in that game. Bournemouth was so much better than them, so didn't expect loads. Then Florian Wirtz and Salah in midfield. Salah really didn't do anything in that game. He hasn't done anything in the last 2 games, really, to be honest. So the thing is, though, I can't sell before Burnley and Everton. Statistically, they've been the 2 worst teams in the league. They've conceded the most shots. They've conceded the most XG. They've conceded the most big chances. They're 18th and 19th for big chances created against them. So yeah, I can't be selling either of these players. Wirtz in the first half looked pretty bad, not going to lie. In the second half, though, he did look much better than he's looked all season. So I do think these games against Burnley and Everton will suit him a bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna be keeping him regardless. Reinders, City have been disappointing in the last couple of weeks. His minutes look fine given that Foden's injured, Shirky's injured. I'm not too fussed about him. I'm still just happy to have him and play him. There is a world where I bench him in game week 5 anyway, and then I'm free hitting in 6. So it's only game week 4 that I really care about. Then Ismail Assar was my transfer in. So I talked about on my team selection video how if Palmer was out, I was going to sell Palmer. That's what happened. So I sold Palmer to Sarr. The other move was going to be Mark Gui to Mateta. I didn't do that move. I would have ended up benching Sarr if I did that move. So I'm glad I didn't do that move, basically, because there are now a few other forward options that I could go for. So I'm glad I've got that free transfer instead of having Mateta now and then having bench Sarr. So although Sarr does look like he's got a bit of an injury, so we'll talk about that in a bit anyway. Bruno Fernandes with 10 points. People will say this is lucky, but you've got to look at it in other ways, I think, anyway. Bruno Fernandes was involved in everything in that game. Absolutely everything good. He could have had an assist for the first goal. That was an own goal, so it didn't happen. Could have had another penalty, to be honest. But then also, we picked Bruno Fernandes because we know that he's going to get 90 minutes. We also know that he's on penalties. So, admittedly, the timing of it is lucky, but the reason we picked him is because he plays a lot of minutes and he gets penalties. He takes penalties. So, yeah, glad with his return. I mean, the rest of the team wasn't great, so very glad with his return. Watkins, again, disappointing. Villa started the game really well, and then after like the first 10-15 minutes, just went to nothing again. It's not looking good, but again, their fixtures are really nice, so I don't think I'll really be able to sell him, although I am tempted. And then Thiago is 6 points. It's not much, to be fair, but from a 6 million striker, I don't mind what he's doing. He scored in game week 1, he scored in game week 3. I'm kind of fine with it. Did get actually a little bit unlucky in the sense that Sharda took the penalty instead of him. I was expecting him to be the penalty taker. Sharda's penalty was pretty awful though, so going forward, I'm hoping and thinking he probably will be the penalty taker. Then not much to write home about on the bench. Richard's got 8 points, but I was never considering playing him, to be honest, so I'm not really fussed about that. I'm kind of just glad I own him because Palace do have some lovely fixtures coming up. But yeah, that's where the team is. As you can see, I've got 4 million in the bank from doing Palmer to Sarr. So let's talk about my team for game week 4 and my future transfer plans and a little bit on chip strategy as well. Okay, starting off with goalkeepers, and they've both got pretty poor fixtures. Chelsea at home for Kelleher, Liverpool at home for Dubravka. I'll be playing Kelleher because, well, there isn't much of a reason behind it, to be honest. Both of them are bad, but I keep saying it in all these videos, I don't really care about the goalkeeper position. I'm just glad that I'm going as cheap as possible with it. Maybe Kelleher will get some save points. I do expect both of them to concede, so I'm not too fussed about it. I won't be making any transfers. On wildcard, whenever I do that, maybe I'll change keepers, but again, I'll probably be going pretty cheap. So on to defenders now, and obviously very similar. Esteve will be last on the bench. He's playing at Liverpool. He's playing Liverpool at home. I won't be playing him, obviously. Murillo is on the bench as well this week, Arsenal away. So when I did my Game Week 1 team selection, I talked through my defender rotations, and this was one of the weeks that I knew I wouldn't be able to play Murillo because it's Arsenal away. So I needed my fourth defender to have a good fixture. That's why I picked Richards, who has Sunderland at home. It doesn't get much better as fixtures go. So glad I've got him for this one, and this is always the plan, to play both the Spurs guys against West Ham away, and then Richards or Sunderland at home. The fixture of Spurs against West Ham away is not looking as good as it would have maybe a week ago. West Ham have looked much better in Game Week 3. Spurs look much worse in Game Week 3. But Porro's a constant threat, given that he'll take some set pieces. He's always going to kind of get forward. Van de Ven not so much, but I just don't mind the fixture at all. There is a world where Van de Ven gets sold for me. There is a world where Murillo gets sold, because I could also grab another Palace defender. In fact, I could do Murillo to Munoz, or even Porro to Munoz potentially. But I probably won't bother. I'm just not sure that's particularly worth a transfer, given Spurs fixtures are still quite good. So this will be the defence. Now in midfield, so I've got Bruno Fernandes with Man City away. Obviously it's not a good fixture, but I want him going forward. I want him for Game Week 7. So I certainly won't be selling him, and I won't be benching him either. So that's just what it is. Sarr, I mean, it says the vice captaincy's on him there. The vice captaincy could be on anyone, really. It won't really matter. He's got Sunderland at home. Now, he did go off with a bit of an injury, or what looked like an injury, in the game against Aston Villa. However, it was a bit of a weird one. After the game, in an interview, he said he was fine, but then Glasner has since said that it was a hamstring injury. He's now not going on international duty, so it's clearly not nothing. But I'm hoping it's kind of not enough to keep him out of that game, because I've only just brought him in. Obviously, he did score for me, so I've got points from him anyway. And actually, I can probably bench him if I need to, so it's not the end of the world, but I'd much rather have him playing with Sunderland at home. Burnley away for Salah and Wirtz. This is why I can't sell Wirtz. The fixture of Burnley away. Burnley have been the worst team in the league defensively so far. They're 20th for all of the defensive stats, like I mentioned. Shots conceded, big chances conceded, XG conceded. So I will be captaining Salah. I will be keeping Wirtz for this game and probably the next one against Everton. Reinders of Man United at home. Again, this fixture isn't incredible. I mean, Man United, they did concede 2 against Burnley, but before that they didn't look that bad in the league anyway. So Reinders will be going nowhere unless kind of a random injury happens over the international break. The midfield will pretty much be as is, unless Sarr is out for like a long time. Can't see a world where I sell him, to be honest. And then the forwards, Watkins has Everton away. As I mentioned, Everton have been one of the worst defences in the league. It's been a bit weird with Everton because their attack has improved. Dewsbury Hall, Grealish have been incredible, really, since they've come in. They've improved their attack a lot, but their defence has gone a bit rubbish, which is the opposite of what they were last season. Last season, they were quite good defensively. Their attack was a bit rubbish. So that's been quite interesting to see. I'm hoping that Watkins and Villa can just do something, get back to their old selves a little bit, because Watkins has some nice fixtures coming up, so it's tough to sell him. But yeah, Thiago has Chelsea at home. Not the best fixture, obviously. Chelsea haven't looked that good defensively, though. Fulham, they've kept clean sheets, don't get me wrong, but Palace in Game Week 1 had chances to score. Against West Ham as well, the first kind of half an hour, West Ham had a lot of chances to score. And then Fulham as well. They did score a goal that was wrongly ruled out. They also had other chances to score, so I'm not sure that fixture is that bad, but obviously it's not ideal. Not compared to some other people who've got maybe Strand Larson with a better fixture or something like that. But my transfer will be, unless anything changes between now and the deadline, it's likely to be Mark Gui out to Mateta. Now, if Spurs don't sign a striker, I could look at Richarlison because Solanke's out for quite a while now. However, it looks like I'm recording this on kind of Monday lunchtime, the deadline day, so it looks like they might be getting Kolo Muani on a loan. Richarlison probably will still be first choice striker, but it just does make that a little bit less of a good option. But Mateta is definitely still the best option at the moment for me. Palace's fixtures are really good. Palace are looking pretty good as well in terms of how they're playing. And that's considering they've had European fixtures as well. And most of their first team have played 90 minutes in those fixtures. So to still be playing that well in the Premier League games is quite impressive and shows that it won't matter too much about these European fixtures. So Mateta is definitely one I'm looking at. Another option though is I can get to Isak. Now Isak is pretty much nailed on going to Liverpool now. As I say, I'm recording this at lunchtime on Monday. We've got a Fabrizio Romano here we go on it. So it's not been officially announced, but it pretty much is happening. Watkins to Isak is an option. With Burnley away and then Everton, like I mentioned, the fixtures are really good for Liverpool. So there is obviously a world where I could get Ekatike, but I don't know. I mean, Isak is really tempting to just get for those couple of good fixtures. I mean, I don't like selling Watkins when he has really good fixtures, but Villa look really bad. So that is an option. I'm still most likely to go with Gui to Mateta. And then, like I say, if Sarr is out for just the Sunderland game maybe, then I can bench Sarr and play Mateta. Otherwise, I would probably be benching Thiago, I think. If I bought Mateta in, I'd then bench Thiago. Now, the reason I'm not selling Thiago instead of Gui is because I'm thinking about bench boosting in Game Week 8, where I will need Thiago for that bench boost. Bench boost in Game Week 5 is an option. At the moment, I just prefer Game Week 8. However, I haven't ruled out a Game Week 5 bench boost. What I am most likely to do, though, is free hit in Game Week 6. I don't have Haaland, and I want Haaland for that week. I'm not sure I want Haaland over Salah in any of the other coming weeks, so it makes sense to free hit rather than wildcard or use transfers. So that is how I'm looking for Game Week 4 at the moment. They are my transfer plans. This is how I will line up currently. Obviously, things might change before the deadline. I will be doing a team selection video later on next week before the deadline. But yeah, if you've got any questions on my team, if you've got any questions on your team, drop them in the comments. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.